spawning in the west location here on Shattered Temple. And over in the south position, we've got our red Zerg. It is going to be Slayer's Sleep.
And straight off the bat, we are going to have the Overlord going into Scout. And will HerO be pulling off a... Well, actually, look at this. The probe has gone down that early. It looks like he's going to be going for a Forge expansion straight away. That is really brave, especially on this kind of map. And I noticed that Koreans are doing this almost as a regular standard build. Forge expand almost on every map.
What do you think about it?
I mean, it's kind of dangerous, but at the same time, the way that Zergs have been playing recently is that they don't really get an extractor early on. They like to go, you know, spawn and pull, then hatchery first, and even on a map like this, hatchery first. And so you kind of have two ways to play it. Do you want to play aggressive straight off the bat and have some form of pressure as a Protoss player, or do you want to hit with a really strong mid-game timing attack? And HerO's one of those players that doesn't like to pressure straight away. He's okay with just showing what he's doing, and then he loves blink builds. Anything involving blink he will use. So I wouldn't be surprised if he hits some form of 6-7 gate blink attack versus sleep here.
Yeah, and you know, this is one of these now evolving strategies for the Protoss, as we've seen a lot more lately. As you know, and you mentioned it, because of the way that Zerg is playing, it's allowing the Protoss to open those doors. Early aggression is becoming less and less of something that we're seeing here, although it has been very effective, and some Zergs are. Interesting, it canceled the Forge to get a reposition here. If you notice, he actually put it one tile off there, and there was a hole, so he's repositioned that. But it won't matter. I mean, this is exactly, it's going to work out perfectly as we see Sleep only now getting his pool down. We have the pylon over here blocking this expansion and this hatchery from going down here. So not only does he go with the quick economic build, but he'll also prevent the Zerg from going with an economy build, which I think is just the dream of every Protoss.
Yeah, and as we can see, it's at 20 supply, and he still hasn't even taken gas yet. And against this build, he's probably going to be looking, if he hasn't taken gas yet, we'll be looking for a fast third. But there's rocks blocking the usual thirds place, the gold and the back right. So if he does want to take a fast third, it's going to have to be at the 3 o'clock position, which is kind of tough to defend with these mid-game timing attacks. So I have no idea what Slayer's Sleep is trying to plan here. But one thing is for certain, that he does want to play very mineral-based, as you can see. He wants to really hit these drones hard. Probably get additional queens out as well to help spread that creep. And the Nexus does go down for HerO inside of his natural.
Yep, he's pretty much going exactly what you'd expect him to go in when he drops that Forge first, and now that Nexus is just getting ready to complete. But now that the cannon is up at the front, it eliminates the Zergling threat. Sure, you could make a lot of Zerglings try to get past there, but ultimately just throwing away some units. We don't see a lot of players opting to go with that sort of strategy, although we've seen it before. But in this case, Sleep's going to be perfectly fine. In fact, I love what he's doing here. Zergling's already working on these back rocks. He knows that there's still this nice amount of time before the inevitable attack may come, or an initial attack may come. So going for potentially a quick third could be really big here. And we still don't have an extractor yet. This gasless builds have just become really popular amongst the Zergs.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to have to throw down double extractors very shortly. And I was watching the base of HerO, and he actually cancelled his second assimilator, and I really don't know why. I mean, it looked like he cancelled it so he could get more money to build a second cannon faster, and just wanted to play the safe option rather than the later kind of non-safe option here. So a little bit confusing with that, but that's going to slow everything down a little bit because obviously the gas income's not going to be the same. But look at all these links and 10 more in production.
Yeah.
And he hasn't even got hasn't even got speed yet.
Yeah, I don't know if I mean, he's got Overlord vision here, and he knows, okay, I'm counting 2 cannons. I know that the cybernetics core just finished up. There's literally the first Zealot about ready to pop. And I had mentioned seeing some Zergs just going very unit heavy and going in, and that looks like exactly what he is going to do here. He's got a fair amount that he could just ignore the cannon, and that's exactly what he's going to do, targeting down that Forge. And sorry, Probes, you won't be able to repair on this one, but if he gets through here, this Zealot is not going to be do anything, and he could do some serious damage here.
Wow, and he is going to go in as well. The Zealot is going to be able to get taken down rather fast here, but good pro block by HerO on the ramp, prevents these links, but he has to be careful. He does manage to block it once again, and these links are taking a bit of damage now, and you know, the drone count's only at 27 when it could have been a lot higher here, and he didn't really benefit. All he killed was a Forge. Does slow down the upgrade, and the mining time as well, but to be honest, I really don't think it was worth it.
It wasn't. It absolutely wasn't. You know, the Zealot came out actually at a perfect time for HerO, and the thing that's a little sad about that attack for Sleep there, no, not Zerg bias at all. When those Lings initially came out, Apollo, they sat to the right of the main hatchery or the left of the main hatchery for quite a while. And I think there was a window in which that would have absolutely worked. I mean, the probes were pulled back, but the Zealot, along with the cannons, really quickly depleted those units and took care of those Zerglings. So the rocks at the gold going to go down here for Sleep, and you know he will be able to drone up. He is going up to lair right now, and you know it did take off some mining from HerO. So the question I would ask you is, did it pull him back enough? Like, was there enough of a delay in now what HerO would have done that really throwing away those Zerglings didn't make that big of a deal?
Well, the biggest thing that I think it would have been okay, to be honest, but the really big thing what I just noticed was that he built a Stargate and showed it as well in the main base, and then he went ahead and canceled it and built a Robo almost immediately. And as you can see now, we are going up to 4 gates and Robo, and I think we're going to go for a very fast Colossus here. He may even use an Immortal, but against his style, we have a Hydra Den thrown out. He doesn't quite know about that, so of course we are going to get an Observer straight away. But he took the third and fourth gas so fast that it kind of led me to thinking that he was going to throw down a Robotics Bay, but no, he's going to build a Warp Prism, and we've seen this before from HerO many times. And if this ramp gets exposed and we get a force field onto the ramp of Slayer's Sleep here, this could be relatively dangerous.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how this one is going to transpire too, because I also think that the you know, the Hydra Den, based off of what he's doing there, we see the groove spines go down and the first Hydras are about ready to come out, and oh, the Overlord is going to see it. Overlord speed finishes up. Oh, and he sees the Warp Prism pop out, so he should be ready for that. That Overlord is going to be a savior to this particular Zerg race here. And look, the Warp Prism actually comes on back, and I don't think he's going to give that up too much. Yeah, so that worked out quite nicely for him. One Zealot over here on the side is also going to see the Hydras, so both players getting a good idea on what happened. Now, because he saw the Warp Prism, you know, he also knows, obviously, that the Starport's not there anymore. And there it is. We've got the Robotics Bay going down.
And, I mean, if he doesn't try to harass or try to block it and kill Sleep straight away, what has been coming kind of regular in GSL and Korea is force field harassment. And I'm sure you guys have seen it, where you can literally plant 4 force fields down onto the main mining base, and you can prevent a lot of mining. And it looks that's probably what we're going to be seeing here.
We've got the third rocks being taken out here by HerO. Couple Lings just on the outside, but there's an Observer here, and there they're going in right now, and you're exactly right. They do manage to get a bunch of the drones stuck in there, and even some Zealots coming out. Now we will have the Hydras just sort of coming on over to try to help things out. These Zealots will be stuck inside, but it pretty much went down exactly as you said it would.
Yeah, that was pretty good harassment there, but he has to be so careful, especially with Hydras on creep. Are going to be able to chase it down if he doesn't have that speed upgrade. And he's not going to get it right now. He's gone into Colossus. He's taken a third base, which was immediately spotted by an Overlord as well. But look at this pretty cool transition, knowing that there is a Warp Prism and that HerO's play is very focused around Warp Prisms too. That we're actually seeing Mutalisk come into play here, and they are becoming really popular. And I really don't think that HerO saw a Spire. It was hidden down onto the natural, so he has no idea about this. So he hasn't got a Twilight Council yet. He hasn't got Blink ready, and he's not going to be prepared for this at all. And he's gone down the Colossus pathway, which is going to be really difficult to transition out of it because he spent so much gas and investment into it.
Yeah, you know, the other thing that's really interesting is that the mutas on this particular map, considering that we've got HerO taking this third in the northwest corner, they do have the option or the ability to spread out this Protoss army an awful lot. And so I think that right now we're just going to see Sleep waiting for a few more mutas before moving out. But now you see HerO with this first Colossus out. I don't think those mutas are going to get a chance to harass or attack before this initial army at least pushes forward a little bit. And he's got to be concerned about a potential attack here from HerO.
And there is a cannon in the main mineral line for HerO, so that's going to help out a lot. Now that HerO knows, he warps in Stalkers. He's got to be careful not to lose these Mutalisks, and they will have to retreat now as he does return home. 4 more in production. The +1 attack is about to finish, and the Warp Prism is on the bottom right-hand side now, and I think it did pass a lot of Overlords, but I don't think Sleep actually noticed.
Yeah, and there's actually, oh, he's going to go into the gold. This could be quite perfect here. It is holding 4 Zealots inside. There we see it go down. Will the Mutalisk react? In fact, the Mutalisk actually, oh, look, they're all the way down in the corner. Thought he was going to go down, so the Warp Prism is going to be effective. But the Mutalisk intercept the Warp Prism. It goes down. And really what was lost here is some mining time. Here, all the drones do manage to come back, and he did get rid of the Warp Prism from the map, which I'm sure has got to be a relief.
Oh, against HerO is definitely a relief. And basically what we're going to have to see HerO do now is he has to defend. Against Mutalisk, that's all you have to do until you have a decent-sized army, a well-upgraded army, but you have to keep the balance of defending kind of low, because you cannot let a Zerg just go ahead and expand to like 5 bases, take all the gas they want, and they can easily transition over into a Hive and go into Broodlords and so on. So as long as he keeps that, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, there it is actually. The Templar Archives is going down as well. Archons are absolutely fantastic against this composition that we have from Sleep for right now.
And now we're going to have a bit of an attack here as the Lings are going to start to work on the back wall. Force fields in, and those Hydras are going to say, yeah, not really going to attack there. I mean, HerO holds that off quite well. There's going to be absolutely no damage, but we have a lot of Hydras, and of course these Mutas moving on over. Again, this is where we talk about that Protoss army getting really, really spread out, and then it becoming a little bit more difficult to deal with all this. There's 1, 2, 3 cannons. He quickly snipes that High Templar. Will take care of this cannon at the front. Might even get a couple of pylons, and there's a transition. The Blink Stalkers are shown, and HerO does manage to eject it out a little bit, but the rocks are going to go down. You can see that unfortunately there is a wall here, so there's not a whole lot that HerO can do other than stay there with this Colossus to defend from that.
And a brave man HerO is actually builds another Warp Prism despite Mutalisk going all over the place. And it look, oh, I know exactly what he's going to do. He's not going to really focus on drops, but what he's going to do is keep the High Templar within the Warp Prism. He's very well known for that, and his micro and control is second to none. And all the Blink Stalkers, if they just spread out, they can be able to fight this, but they were clumped up a little bit and took a little bit too much damage.
Oh, and these Mutas actually doing quite a good job here. They take out another pylon. The amount of Stalkers here is not that many, but he knows that there are more to come, and with Blink, you cannot overextend with your Mutas, or you can find yourself losing quite a few. However, with +2 attack about to finish, actually, it's just been started here, but the Muta count is quite impressive right now for Sleep. And I just want to look at the Protoss upgrades. They are 1-2, so got to be careful as the Mutas continue to move on in. They're going to engage with these smaller groups of Stalkers, and there is the Blink forward. He will get out of there. And meanwhile, up in the upper third, there we see
the
counterattack.
Protoss army is so spread out, it is no way. He's going to have to warp in units. I'm surprised he didn't warp in some sentries, or maybe it's going to be too late for sentries, as the Zerg is going to break down. Mutalisk harassment going to continue onto the natural, but there's going to be a couple of big storms here on the natural, and the Mutalisk take a lot of damage, but they survive, and everything is going up to this north base.
And look, he decides to go back around as the whole army is rotating, and these Mutas just going back and forth, going to try to take out these cannons right away. Remember, these Mutas are very hurt. Oh, he almost had the opportunity there for a couple of Colossus, though, but he knows when it is time to get out of there. And although the Protoss army is spread out, really done in the correct volume. He has the perfect amount of units at his third, the perfect amount of units at the mid, and even into the main. And he hasn't gone beyond, what, these 2 Colossus. Like, that's it. So that, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what basically we need to see HerO do now is he can actually start to take a 4th base. His supply is getting 170. It's not, basically when these pylons finish, he can go up to 200. So he's basically at 200 supply right now. And he can most definitely start to put pressure back on. But oh no, once again, we are going to see another attack. 1 High Templar is going to be able to storm. Well, he's not going to storm. He doesn't storm, and that's pretty big, as this base could even just go straight down.
Oh no, look at all of the army is actually all over the place. They're getting split up as well. That base does go down. Blink Stalkers are also split up with the rest of the army. And this is, oh, great storm. Oh, another one, and Mutas falling left and right. And he does manage to save himself a little bit. Meanwhile, oh, we've got a warp in down in the main base.
And that's a lot of Zealots right now, but I think there's going to be enough. The Spine Crawlers, there's too many Lings, and these Mutalisks as well are going to help clean this up. And the Mutalisk flock is coming back in the center of the map now, and HerO asking for a quick pause. And he is definitely on the ropes right now, losing that 3rd base. is so important. The gas income is going to shoot incredibly low, and he's not going to be able to continue his high tech. He's not going to be able to add on that many high Templar, but currently looking at the resource balance in the top right, the kind of bank, he's got a lot of money saved up, but he keeps losing so many pylons over and over and over that he can't quite get to that 200 supply mark.
Yeah, I mean, really what's been impressing me between both players is HerO is, although he's been in some very, very tight situations, he's managed to kind of squeak out. Now, losing that northwest base, huge disadvantage. He did not want to see that go down. He had to leave the wall up there, but Sleep with some great counterattacks, forcing his army to split. However, he did land those two very, very key storms on those mutas, and that was pretty much the bulk of Sleep's army. He's only dealing with these zealots with the lings right now inside his base. He's going to quickly get back up there. He's at 162 supply, both the players right about the same. But losing those mutas was pretty devastating, considering that he also threw away the hydras because he let them take care of the rest in that northwest base.
Yeah, and the balance between defending too much and not attacking is gone too far now. He should have been and gone already. Actually, should have attacked long before that third base went down. But the thing is, he had a single high Templar with 4 cannons, and it was literally 73, 74, 75. Ding, 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 ding. You've got enough for a storm, but didn't quite react on it. And that one missed storm could have saved that third base. And then having taken a fourth, he could have very easily countered then and pushed out with everything. But losing that third base is really hurting him. He had to come back to it as well, and he's not in a good position right now.
Losing that one high Templar, as you mentioned as well, Apollo, it also meant that he did a good job dealing with the mutas, but if that storm would have also hit the mutas, and then he would have added the 2 on the outside, that would have been a death blow to most of them right there. And then I don't think there would have been much of an army to even deal with what is coming out here. I know we have like a couple of mutas, a few lings, but I would guess that the Hydra production is done now. I mean, what is he banking on 145 gas? Well, that's not a whole lot to deal with.
Well, he has 34 Mutalisks, so if he actually, nailed them storms, and they are right now, even though there's 34, they are very low in health.
Very low.
And there's only 15 lings, and that's it. So if he had defended that, he could have very easily, he's got the resources to warp in a maxed out army as well. 1,300 and almost 1,500. So he could have very easily just hit the W on the key, warped in a big, well, he would have had to balance it between Zealots and Stalkers simply because of the Zerglings as well. Maybe a few High Templar in there, and most definitely could have pushed for a counterattack. And I do honestly believe, looking at the minimap, that Sleep would have been in a little bit of trouble there. In the production tab, he only has 4 Mutalisks at this current point in time. He only has 150 gas banked up as well. So even if he had the production capabilities to make Ultralisks or make Broodlords or even Hydras, he just doesn't have the gas right now.
All right, well, we're going to be resuming here shortly. Thanks for joining us here at IPL 3 Origins. This is day number 2. We've still got 2 more days left to go. We played through pools A and B yesterday. Today going through pools C and D. Of course, the open bracket going to be finishing up tonight as well. So we will find out what 16 players will emerge. Of course, I expect 16 phenomenal players. But, one thing, Apollo, with the amount of talent that's over there, at the end of the day, there's going to be some very disappointed talent, StarCraft 2 players over there.
Yeah, the thing is with the open bracket, it's so stacked that players are hitting each other really early on, and there's a lot of disappointments going on over there.
All right, guys, we're going to take a quick commercial. We're going to resume in just a moment here. We'll continue with Game 2 between HerO and Sleep. Don't go away.
shown how human I was.
It's my time. What truth will I find in my world?
Or how much more
In my world.
I could become.
Rated M for mature.
In a top-secret facility, some of the brightest minds gathered in the dead of night. Their mission, to redefine technology as we know it.
We've managed to unlock it, but how will people handle this much power?
AMD FX CPUs, the epic returns. Introducing the AMD FX 8-core processor, the world's first 8-core desktop processor, unlocked out of the box. With an extra burst of speed when you need it most, with AMD Turbo Core technology. And ultimate power for all your demanding content creation needs. Introducing Vision FX technology. When you combine the power of an AMD FX 8-core processor with the world's fastest graphics card, the AMD Radeon HD 6990 graphics card, put your graphics to the test and revel in lifelike imagery with AMD's second generation of DirectX 11 capable graphics. All that you know is about to change. Get 8 cores in your system.
It has been resumed. We'll be jumping right into it as we've now got a potential counterattack going on here inside the gold of HerO's. Just as he tries to get this back up, the Mutas will come in from the northeast. The Zerglings now coming in as well. And look at this, a counterattack from HerO. This base is going to go down for Sleep. These Mutas, oh, they're so incredibly low. There's the first storm going down, and they can't really engage quite yet. No, great split coming out here by Sleep. He loses just a couple of Mutas, checks on the third base here, and we could actually see some sort of a base race scenario here.
Oh, look at all these Spikers. Do not lose the
no.
High Templar.
Oh, he's gonna lose
no.
1, 2. He ends up saving 2, but he desperately needed those. That was a huge mistake coming out here by HerO.
His army's in danger now. Most
Very
definitely
much.
can just jump on top of it, DJ Wheat, and he has to be so careful. Losing 2, and that was like 4 storms. They both had almost full energy, and uh-oh.
Here it comes. The storms have to come out. Mutas going right up on top. There are the storms, but the Mutas go right through them, and they will have to get around. It does look like the Zerglings were cleaned up, but I believe all the High Templar are officially gone. Now, you're asking yourself, what exactly happens here? The Muta count is pretty high, but they're all pretty low. We've got 5 Broodlords on their way out with a make that 6 and 7 right now. That third base going down. And HerO right now, his income is, look at the income right now, only 200 coming in. Sleep looks like he's going to be able to take this one.
Yeah, I think as soon as HerO actually sees the Broodlings start attacking his units, he just doesn't have enough. Even if he blinked under, there's too many spine crawlers, and HerO is in a lot of trouble right now.
Yeah, I mean, he would almost have to just get into the base, get into the main here. He does have a few High Templars, but I mean, the Broodlords can just sit there and siege at the front for a while he manages to get a couple more bases up. I don't see any way HerO can get back in this game economically.
Well, his main base is mined out, his natural is mined out. The only one thing he can do is just try, he has to go for an attack, but he can't go through the main throat. And oh, is it gonna get cancelled? Oh, it doesn't even get cancelled. He has no money, DJ Wheat, only at 78 minerals, and he's gonna have to long distance mine from the gold.
That's ouch. That is really a big ouch right there. The Mutas, although they are hurting and literally just stumbling around the map, they have done an enormous amount of damage, and it does look like he will finally be losing a fair amount of those. And I mean, all that's left is pretty much a potential counterattack. There we see a storm go down on these Zerglings, but he's going to probably rush right in the main. Oh, a great storm on the ramp, and HerO's not giving up yet.
No, he's not giving up yet, but the horrible picture is the natural area for Sleep. He has so many Broodlords, 9 in total, 2 more morphing. He's upgrading +3 attack for his Broodlords as well, and also his Mutalisks. And the High Templar count is pretty high, though. I mean, if he was able to engage in a decent location away from these spine crawlers for sure, then maybe he could be able to pick up a win. But it's going to be incredibly hard. The army supply difference, 84 to 106. And without a correct way to actually combat these +3 Broodlords, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, and the High Templar count going even higher as right now he's sitting on 7 of them. Their energy continuing to build, but you can just see from the production tab, there are actually supposed to be things here, right here, but there is not, and that is because the economy of HerO is pretty much nothing. I mean, as you mentioned, long distance mining going in, and there is the 400-y long distance mine from the gold, and these High Templars all out in the middle of the map by their lonesome. Looks like one Zealot going to move on over. He's just checking. He's not going to be able to go up and see if there is a 4th base or not. And I think HerO's just going to wait and let this Nexus build. But at what point does Sleep go, okay, you know, the 50 Broodlords I have, probably going to take out my opponent. And he goes in. He's certainly, I guess, taking a page out of Thorzane's book and kind of spooning away a little bit here at HerO.
Indeed he is. And he has the liberty to do whatever he wants. He can take that, you know, 2 o'clock base, and there's nothing to stop him. There's no vision on the higher ground, which means that the Stalkers can't even go up to harass. Mulis are patrolling the entire of the map as well, and I think the only option left for HerO is just to throw everything and everything he has at Sleep, but the spine crawler spread is amazing. It's going to be really tough to actually find an engagement area.
And here we have the Mutas going back in. And these Mutas in this late portion of the game can actually be very, very deadly. In fact, he's going right after the Templar Archives. And this is where this last little bit of Mutas can be incredibly beneficial, because you can pick off individual buildings like this, pylons that power down a lot of the production. And getting rid of the Templar Archives means that pretty much the High Templar are limited to what is out on the field, and that is 7. And it's not like HerO had the resources to continue to mass those up anyway, but it's just one less thing that Sleep has to deal with, and suddenly you see the massive turning of a whole fleet of Broodlords that are now heading out to the middle of the map. They don't need the protection of the spine crawlers any longer. They've also got the fungals of these infestors there, and this is just going to be an incredibly nasty engagement.
Yeah, there's 1,400 gas saved up as well. He's throwing down an Ultralisk Cavern, and even if he loses it, he can basically build a straight up 7 Ultralisk straight behind this, and he's not going to be able to combat that whatsoever. And here is HerO on the ropes, almost getting ready to be thrown out of the ring.
The Mutas go back into the main as well, which could split up this army. Going after some of the pylon. There's the blink up to the high ground, and the Mutas are just going to be on hold position. And here we go, as we see the siege in the middle. Storms get thrown down, and a lot of the High Templar are actually saved by the Colossus. But the Storms themselves, and there we have the Infestors trying to move forward. Feedback on the Infestors, and all of them go down, but 2. They'll go ahead and throw out as many infested Terrans as they can. How is he doing this? The Archon's taking a ton of damage here, and the Broodlord's number's starting to fall, but there's so much behind this. As you mentioned, the Ultralisk come out next.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to clean this up. He has so many Broodlords. Despite them, they are losing a lot of health, but he can't combat this.
GG.
Sleep closes the series 2-0 versus HerO. A bit of an unexpected result, to be honest. I think a lot of people are expecting HerO to take that, but Sleep, the relative underdog in this tournament, does go ahead and pick off a game here.
I do commend HerO, though, for giving it his all, you know,
Yeah.
in the game of StarCraft 2, it just, I feel like the players who go for those situations where, you know, they will fight for everything they can. And obviously HerO not incredibly happy about that performance and how that game actually played out there. We also had the pause in the middle. So, you know, Sleep does take it 2-0, and the ZVP is won by the Zerg.